Welcome to solverfy.
There's no set rule for the number of classes that you need to have in a frequency distribution, but the general rule of thumb is that you should have between 5 and 20 classes. To demonstrate why this is, I'll give you a couple of examples. If you were to roll a die many times and try to decide if the die was loaded or not, you might decide to group this in groups of 2, and you might see some results like you got a 1 or a 2 10 different times, a 3 or a 4 12 times, and a 5 or a 6 50 times. This would not be as helpful because you want to know exactly which number was the one that was loaded. So instead, we're much better off listing out each number individually. This is why you generally want to avoid having too few classes, because when you have a small set of data or a small range of classes, then you probably want to know information about each individual member of the class rather than generalizing too much. On the flip side, if you had the number of video games of high school students, this could end up being anywhere between 0 and, let's say, 50 video games per student. Now, this is not a good idea because, for example, you might have no students at all who have exactly 11 or exactly 22 video games. So you might have a lot of holes in your data. Also, if you only have a small handful of video games, that's probably all you really need to know. You don't need to know exactly how many. So it'll probably be better to have something like groups of 5, where you had 0 to 4, and then 5 to 9, and so on. Now, to figure this width out, which leads into the next part of explaining why you generally want to have an odd width, there are 5 numbers included in this class right here. There's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are 5 different numbers. So this has a class width of 5. And the reason we want to have an odd number for our width is because when we go to graph, we always use the midpoint. So this number in the middle is our midpoint, and there is a mathematical way to determine that. And so when we go to graph this, we're going to use 2 when we label this number line as our midpoint. We might still label the graph as uh, using different ranges. So we might still label this as 0 to 4 in our graph, but determining where to put it on our graph, we're going to put it right in the middle. And if you were to have an even number for the width, so let's say we only did 0 to 3, take out this 4. Now our midpoint is going to be 1.5, and it's going to make it very awkward to graph with those extra decimals. So the reason that we want an odd class width is because having an odd class width prevents the midpoint from containing extra decimals.